Go ahead. All right. So today, Bezat Hashem, we're going to be learning Sipurey Maasios. We're going to continue the Maisa of the exchange children. And let's just share the screen here. And this is where we're holding. Okay. So the last thing that we said is that the real prince did whatever he did, wasted his money. And one day he went, to walk on his own, and he let himself lie down, and he started thinking of whatever it is that happened to him in his life. And he thought, what is it Hashem did to me? If I'm the real prince, obviously, this doesn't come to me. I mean, if I'm not the prince, obviously, I don't deserve this, to be chased and exiled. And then he was Maasios. He reflected, and he said, how much more so? If it is possible that Hashem can do something like this, to change the prince, and all this will go over him, you'll go through all this. Is it possible that I did what I did? Does this justify that I did what I did? What is befitting to me to behave the way I did? And he started regretting it and being very sorry for all the bad things that he did. Then he went back to his drunkenness and his wayward ways. But since he already started having harata, having regret, all these thoughts of harata and tshuva were confusing all the time. And one day he laid himself down and he dreamt that at a certain place there is a fair in a specific place, and let him go there. And the first job that he will be offered, let him do this job, even if it doesn't fit his covet. And he woke up, and this dream entered his mind very pervasively, very strongly. Because sometimes, something goes into your mind and immediately it passes. But this particular dream really entered his thought. But still, it was very difficult for him to do this. So he went back to drinking. And he dreamt this dream again a few times, and it really confused him a lot. And Pamachas, once they told him in a dream, if you really want to have pity on yourself, do this. And he had to do it. And he went and he gave the rest of the money that he had, for the hotel, and also the important clothing that he had. He also left it, by that hotel. And he took himself the simple kind of garments, the work clothes, as it was. And he went to that fair, and he came there. The first thing that we see over here is that the minute he starts thinking about, I shouldn't have done what I've done, to get up and stop whatever it is that he did, is, as far as I was concerned, was too much to ask. It was too much. It was too hard. And we need to understand that this is normal. The thing is that when a person lives his life in a state of escape, and we all do this, to one degree or another. We all do it. We said it many times. We grow up, we concoct a certain shell of a self-image. Okay, let's see, who is this that is still waiting there? Okay, hold on. And we see that each one of us has his own shell that we use in order to protect ourselves, exist in a world that is many times very abrasive and seemingly extremely unfair and painful. When it actually enters our mind that we're doing wrong and there's no justification for living wrong like that, for doing the things that we do, it's still it's still difficult just to let go, because life is scary. I mean, life is scary. I mean, when the reason why we created this shell of self-esteem, self-image, whatever it is, it's because, up to a certain point in our lives, we were extremely happy. When, I don't know, age 4, 5, 6, 3, I don't know, each one, according to it was like, we laughed when we were happy, and we cried when we were sad, and we hugged and we screamed and we cried. And a certain point in time, when we realized that the world is really tough, the world is really hard to take. It's really abrasive, things. And so we enter a shell, we build a shell, each one, whatever shell he constructs for himself. At a certain point in time, it doesn't work anymore. And the reason why it doesn't work is because HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes sure that it doesn't work, because we need to get to where we need to get. But still, even though the old solutions don't work anymore, it's still very hard to give them up, because the reason why escapes are tempting, or the reason why any form of escape is used, is because it works. It works. If it's drugs, if it's alcohol, if it's anything else, the reason why people do it is because it works. The problem is, at a certain point in time, it stops working. At a certain point in time, not only that it stops working, but the dream is gone. The illusion of relief is gone. And what enters is a reality of great misery. We pay a great price for the safe havens in our minds. We pay a great price emotionally, physically, self-esteem wise, whatever you want to call it. We pay a great price for that. At a certain point in time, with the chesed of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what happens is that the equation between what I get from escaping and the pain that it causes sort of like shifts. Suddenly, to escape is more painful than not to. If somebody is using anything, substances, food, whatever, the pain of using becomes greater than the pain that it comes to ameliorate, to alleviate. That's the only reason why people start looking for ways to leave that, to leave the escape and get clean, get sober, get whatever it is that whatever name you want to call it. Do tshuva, obviously. But the point is that it's not something, and we spoke about it once before, it's not something that is done at one time. The fact that I want to stop and then I fall back and I want to stop and I fall back, each time I try and fall back, we said it creates a keli, it creates a receptacle that enables me to contain the light. When you look on the outside, you can say, yo, man, this is an exercise in futility. You're just wasting your time. But it's not. Each time you try and you fail, you're closer to success. And the reason why it's so hard for us to believe that we're actually closing to success is because the reason why we keep on falling is because we're scared. We're used to being a certain way. We're used to living a certain way. We're used to seeing ourselves in a certain way. To change that is scary. Yeah, the way I live is painful, and the way I live is eating me up from the inside. What the heck am I doing? But it has the security of the known. I know it. I know that kind of life. I know how it feels. It feels like home. And it feels, I know it. I've seen it. I'll recognize it anywhere. I know the smell. To be happy, to start something new, is scary because, I mean, I'd much rather, settle for suffering that I know over happiness that I don't know what to expect. And that's the reason why the prince, which is me, which is you, starts. I already know what there is to do. I already know what it is that I need to do. But I'm scared. I'm scared. What happens if it doesn't work? I mean, listen, where I am, I know. I've been there, done that. What happens if it doesn't work? What happens if I fall on my face? Again, I don't know if anyone recognizes the sentence of, whenever it is that I succeed, something bad happens. Anybody know? Does it ring a bell to anyone? Until they come to him in a dream. Now, a dream is a mixture of fantasy and reality. That's why Yosef Atzadik was able to interpret a dream. A dream is a state of mind signifies a state of mind that you are no longer in control. Your hang-ups, your story, as it were, is not leading the narrative. Kadosh Baruch Hu can communicate to you directly. And the overriding message that he's getting is saying just go and find yourself a job, the first job that you're offered, and whatever it is, just do it, take it, even if it's completely beneath you. Just do it. Interestingly enough, this motif of take the first job you're offered or take the first deal that they offer you and do it is a very it's a motif that repeats itself in the stories of tzaddikim like the Baal Shem Tov and all the rest of the tzaddikim again and again and again. And the question is why? What's this inyan of the first thing that comes to you, just grab it and do it? Don't judge it if it befits you, it doesn't befit you. It's not up to your it's not dignified enough for you. What it just don't pay any attention. Just take the first thing and do it. What's the thing about this? What's the inyan in this? The point is that when they tell you, listen, take the first thing that is coming to you, is a different way of saying let HaKadosh Baruch Hu into your life. Because when you are starting to judge, listen, this fits me, this doesn't fit me, this is not mechubadik enough, this is not, COVID is today's 19, right? So this is not up to my COVID, this is not up to my whatever. You're basically pushing a Kodesh Baruch Hu out of the picture, as it were. You're not letting a Kodesh, you're not letting Kodesh Baruch Hu in. Just let him in. Let him take over. And the warning that he's getting, more than anything else, is take the first job even if it's not up to your covet, it's not up to your dignity. Means let go. Just let go. We'll find later on when he's chasing the animals that the covet and whatever it is that the conditions that I have in my mind upon what it is that I should take and what it is that I shouldn't take, which job I should take, what job I shouldn't. I'm just placing the old methods that I used my entire life to trip myself up again. When I make a decision, I'm taking the first job that comes, no matter what it is. I remove all the boundaries. I remove all the limitations. Everything becomes possible. And as we'll notice in the story, he comes in, he goes there, he takes a step, and let's just return to the text for a minute. And he says as follows. And he got up and he went to the fair and he met one merchant. And that merchant says, do you want to get a job? Do you want to get a job? Would you like to get a job? And he said, yes. He said, okay, listen, I need to lead. I need to lead animals. Would you, would you work for me? Now he didn't have a time to think about it and to weigh the pros and cons, as it were, because of that dream. And he said immediately yes. And that merchant immediately hired him and started using him and order him about like a master, like a boss to workers. And he started looking at himself and said, what the heck have I done? What did I get myself into? I didn't sign up for that. I didn't bargain for that. Obviously, I mean, this is beneath me. This kind of manual labor. Stepping with animals. Trotting or whatever it is they leave behind. He says, I'm a soft man. I'm sophisticated. I'm educated. I'm smart. Now I have to go with behemoths. I have to go, on foot by the behemoths. But you can't say no. You already have the job. And that merchant is ordering him like a boss. And he says to this merchant, how am I going to go by myself with the animals? He says, well, I have other people are taking the animals, my animals. You'll work together with them. And he gave him some animals and he told him to lead them. He took him out of town, and there were a few other merchants there. They're taking the behemoths, and they all went together. And he was leading the animals, the cattle, and this Seicher, this boss, was riding on a horse. We will meet that theme with the horse two more times in the story. And he went by them. And that merchant was riding cruelly. And against him, he was even more cruel more than to anybody else. And he was extremely scared from that merchant because he was so cruel against him, so brutal against him. And he was scared. Maybe he'll beat him up, one hit, with his stick, and he'll die immediately because he was so idle, it was just like, it's a prince. He was a very soft person. That's why he thought like that. Soft person also means he was a coward. He was scared. And he went with the behemoths and together with the Seicha, and they came to a certain place and they gave him a sack where there was food there, the food of the shepherds. And the Seicha gave them and they ate, and they gave him some of this bread and he ate as well. One of the typical rude awakenings of somebody who decides that he's going to, mend his ways and, take to straight and narrow is that I come to expect a medal. Hey, I'm going to be good. I decided to take the the sacrifice, to make the sacrifice and be good. I deserve a letter of commendation. I deserve, a medal, a Congressional Medal of Honor. I don't know, Purple Heart, whatever, whatever. You know, I deserve to be recognized for this incredible heroism that I'm showing. And instead, I'm getting a 2x4 in the face. Boom. What's going on? What's going on? I don't understand. I finally decided to be good. I finally decided to do tshuva. I finally decided that I'm actually going to do it. And what's my reward? Brutality. First of all, you start in the way and you're taking a look and you're saying like, I can't believe that I signed up for that. This is ridiculous. And it's getting harder and harder all the time. But you have to understand, when I was busy doing all the things that I was supposed not to do, which means when I was busy escaping, there were two things that I did wrong. I mean, the two areas that I was damaged. A, I was doing things that I was supposed not to do. There's a price to pay for that. On the other hand, there's another area. While I was busy escaping didn't necessitate me, it didn't force me to learn how to deal with life, to deal with reality, to deal with difficulties. If there was somebody that I could mooch from, that could borrow without paying back, that I could manipulate into giving in to me, because saying no to me was just like too much trouble. When I decide to stop, when I decide to take care of myself, when I decide to find the way that I need to lead, the first thing I meet is reality, and reality says, I don't have the tools to deal with it. So the first thing I meet is reality, duh. But there's more to it than that. Rabbeinu teaches that when a person does something that he's not supposed to do, when he behaves in a way that he's not supposed to behave, and he decides that he wants to come back, that he wants to find his way back, Rabbeinu says that the fact that he decides that he wants to come back awakens the meter of judgment on him in the Shemaim. And you say, come again? You mean that when I decided I want to be good, suddenly there's judgments on me? Excuse me? Speak English? What are you talking about? Well, the answer is we feel that when we want to do something, when we do something good, we're doing a Kodesh Baruch Hu a favor. We feel like, excuse me for the language, but we're like we're throwing him a bone. Here, I'm being nice, all right? But the truth of the matter is that when you're doing something good, it's like coming to the bank and saying, I want a loan, let's say, of $1 million. Well, I want you to give me $1 million. Excuse me. Why do you want $1 million? Why should I give you $1 million? What happens when you go to a bank and you ask for a loan for $1 million? What do you need it for? What kind of business do you have? What kind of income do you have? What kind of debts do you have? Is it warranted? Is not warranted? When you do a single mitzvah in this world, you are buying eternity. I've been saying it, I don't know how many times, over and over and over again. But this shir tonight, this is Gan Eden. This is eternity, right now. This shir will, exists and will continue to exist to the end of time. And each and every one of us will be fed the glow and the light that comes from the Heilige Diburim of Rabbeinu forever and ever and ever. So Mina Sadin says, wait, Ribono Shel Olam, look what this person did. Look how he behaved. Look what he did with himself. He should be let in? He should be suddenly getting gifts? Eternity? Be'or Pnei Melech Chaim? Who the heck is he? He doesn't deserve that. He should be thrown out. And Rabbeinu says that the Kodesh Baruch Hu loves the midah of mishpat. Kodesh Baruch Hu is a melech hamishpat. And the midah sadin is right. The person doesn't deserve that because of what he did. But Rabbeinu says, but the love that the Kodesh Baruch Hu has for every Jew is much greater than the love that he has for the mishpat, for judgment, for justice. So what does he do? So Kodesh Baruch Hu does two things. He puts a test before you. He puts a block. He puts an obstacle, a barrier between you and where you need to get. B'kedusha. That's your test. That's the justice. You don't deserve to come in. Here's a barrier. But Kodesh Baruch Hu loves you more than he loves justice. So Kodesh Baruch Hu is in the barrier itself. In the mania itself is a Kodesh Baruch Hu. And that's the secret of it. It's not just that it's a barrier that prevents you from getting to where you need to get. It's also the tool with which you will, that you will achieve that which you're looking for. We gave this example many times. You want to build a house? You'll go ahead and you'll find so many different things that you didn't know about building a house. You got to get a permit, you got to get finances, you got to get builders. Not all builders are what they seem to be, and not all builders, when you turn your back to them, and so forth. There's a lot of different details. You go to the school of hard knocks, and every single step of the way to building the building, you're getting one problem after the other, one problem after the other. And as you overcome the problem, you get a knowledge. You know how to build a house. Before you were somebody who wants to build a house. Now, after you have done it, you are a house builder. The one thing that you need to have, is the ratzon, is the cheshek, Rabbeinu says. You have to have a determination. You have to be resolute. This is your thing. This is what you're going after. If you're scared, you cry. You talk about it. Rabbeinu says, In Torah Medalad, there's Nekudas Tzaddik, there's Nekudas Chaver, there's Nekudas Atzmoi. There's the Nekuda that you get from the Tzaddik, the wisdom you get from the Tzaddik. And then there's Nekuda Lakus that you get from your friends, that you hear. And there's the Nekuda between you and the Kodesh Baruch Hu. And this triangle is eternal. You have problems, talk about them. No problem. Come to Kodesh Baruch Hu, just the way it is, just the way you are. But one thing, don't let go. Don't let go of the decision, of the desire to go on. And suddenly you discover within that job, within this, I can't believe I took this job thing, you find friends, the other shepherds, the other people who are looking for what you're looking for. You're not going to be alone. You're looking to do tshuva, you'll find people who are looking for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You're looking to overcome, certain tivus, whatever it is. I mean, you can go to Overeaters Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, whatever it is. You'll find people who are looking for the same thing that you're looking for. They will help you. And you get bread. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is all the time is with you. He will send you people to be with you. Yes, you have behemoths. Yes, you have the animalistic things that you are going after, that you are a prisoner of. You have to walk. This is what you got to do. There's nothing. You want to be free. You want to save your life. You want to save your kingdom. You want to become whatever it is that you need to become. You have to trust the Kodesh Baruch Hu that He's knows what He's doing. And those straits, those impossible obstacles along the way, each one becomes a step upon which you grow up. Every single person in the story, the midwife that exchanged the children, the false prince that is chasing him out of the kingdom, the one who was supposed to be his father but wasn't really his father, gave him the money and told him, listen, he wants to kill you. And this merchant, all these mishaps, all these people who are doing all these terrible things to me, they're all doing him favors. Because otherwise, he will simply be a prince who lives as a slave. There's no greater shame and waste than that. The midwife seems like the cruelest person on earth. Who does a thing like that? But if it wasn't for her, if it wasn't for the fact that suddenly you were thrust into a life that you had to suffer all kinds of things that, why did I deserve it? I'm a good boy. I was a good boy. Why? The answer is that if the prince was not exchanged, if you were not exchanged, if you were not put in the place where you were put and had to endure what you had to endure and still have to endure what you have to endure, You just become a prince, a spoiled brat that grew in the house of the king with, and never ever deserving the royalty, the royal seat. Take a look at the royal family in England. Just disgusting, a lot of people. That's all they are. There's this, you call them this, your Royal Highness, or this Highness, or that Highness, but the Highness, Highness. So shtissim. What did they do? They ride horses. Yofi. That's all they do. Ride horses, and when you eat, you have to put, if the queen puts the utensils down, everybody has to stop eating. Why? Because she's the queen. Thank you very much. Each and every one of them is a nothing because he hasn't done anything to acquire the kingdom. The reason why I have to go through whatever it is that I have to go through is because I am earning my malchus. When I finally step into my greatness, and there is a greatness in me and in you and each and every one of us, when I'm stepping, and it doesn't matter when you start. You can start at age 5 or age 50 or 80. It doesn't matter. It all depends how you define yourself. We said the story before. There's the Rekanti, the famous Rabbi Menachem Rekanti, the great Rishonim. He's brought down Shulchan Aruch. He's brought down in Kisvei Arizal. He's brought down in countless places. He was an Amaretz. He writes it down in the Akdoma to his book, the Rekanti. He writes it. He was until the age of 60. Some say that it's a broken letter because it's an old print. It's until the age of 80. He was an ignoramus. Okay, let's take the easier version to swallow. He was 60. He wasn't 80. And every single day, he came to shul and was put his head into Aron Kodesh, and he would cry to Kodesh Baruch Hu, Ribono Shel Olam, open my heart to learn Torah. Every single day, 60 years, 80 years, I don't know. What would any normal person do in his place? Mr. Rekanti, God bless you, sit down. It's not good for your blood pressure. You want a cup of tea? You want some biscuits? Relax. Learn some Chumash Rashi. Don't cry so much. You're waking up the neighbors. What's going on with you? It's not good for your heart. Look at you. You have children, you have grandchildren. What will the neighbors say? But the more curious question is, what enables him to keep on keeping on like that? Crying every single day. Crying every single day. Kadosh Baruch Hu, open up my heart and Torah. Can't you see? I mean, what in don't you understand? The question is, okay, well, it's working. It seems to be open. Yeah, it seems to be the microphone seems to be working. What enables him to be so resolute? At the end, he says, he writes there that one day he just fell asleep with his hand stuck in the Aron Kodesh, and in a dream he saw, they gave him to drink from Be'er Shel Miriam, the well of Miriam, and his heart opened in Torah, and bam, he became the Rekanti. either age of 60 or the age of 80. But what made it possible for him to hold on without letting go? The answer is what Rabbeinu calls Nakuda Tova. What does Nakuda Tova mean? Nakuda Tova mean is, how do you define yourself? All the people that know of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm not talking about people who live in denial, but anybody who knows HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who knows that there's Torah, who knows that that's the Tachlis, why isn't he doing what he's supposed to do? The answer is because he has despaired. I tried, but it just, it doesn't work out. Not everybody is born to be, Reb Chaim Kanievsky. I tried. I went to Kollel, I went to this, I went to that. I mean, okay, enough is enough. Now it's time, to live life on life's terms and be realistic. That's because you define yourself as, I don't belong amongst the Torah learners. That's not for me. I'm just, one of falls by the wayside. Rabbi Menachem Rekanti, Zecher Tzad v'Kodesh Livracha, did not define himself as that. He says, I am a Yid who belongs in Torah, and the Torah belongs to me. Reality proves otherwise. So reality doesn't know. Excuse me, what do you mean reality doesn't know? Reality does not know. First Gemara. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai came out of Yerushalayim. And Adrian, Caesar, told him, he says, when he met him, he says that Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai told him, Shalom alach Malka, Shalom alach Malka. Hail to you a king, hail to you a king. So Adrian, who was not a king at that time, said, now you deserve capital punishment twice. A, because there's a Roman rule, Roman law, that anybody calls somebody who is not Caesar, call him Caesar, has to be killed. I mean, you sort of like their fingers were pretty easy on the trigger, these Romans, wasn't it? And the second thing is, if I'm actually a king, where were you until now? So Nachman Zakkai told him, the reason I didn't come before is because they wouldn't let me. They have this biryonim, whatever it is, they wouldn't let him. They stabbed every dead person that were taken out of Yerushalayim to be buried. They stabbed him just to make sure that he dies, not trying to get out of Yerushalayim. And his Talmidim said, we're going to let him out. He says, what, you're going to stab him? He says, they're going to say they stabbed their own leaders. Okay, so him we don't stab. Let him go out to bury him. And it was a fake thing. So finally he was able to come out. But regarding the question of, why do you call me a king? I'm not a king. I remember Zakkai told him, I'm sorry. I have a pasuk. So what? I have a pasuk. I have a verse. It says, "V'lvanon ba'adi ripo." The Lavanon, the Beis Hamikdash, is going to fall in the hands of the Adir a mighty, which is a king. And I know that you are going to be the one who's going to destroy Beis Hamikdash. So therefore, you are a king. You say you're not a king, so you don't know. But you are. Why? Because the Torah says so. The Torah says that you're a king. Yeah, but I know I'm not a king. Then you don't know. You simply don't know. What does it mean? Well, we have reality and we have a testimony to reality. For us, this world is reality. The Torah is edus. is the testimony to reality. On the other hand, hold on just 1 second. On the other hand, for tzaddikim, it's the other way around. For tzaddikim, the Torah is reality. The world is a testimony for reality. If the testimony is false, it means it's false, it's wrong. Rabbi Menachem Rekanti says the fact that I'm 60 years old or I'm 80 years old and I'm an Amaretz and I don't know anything, it's incidental. That's not reality. It means there's a problem. It means that I have to overcome, it means I have to cry. That's it. But what am I? I am a Ben Torah. I am a tzaddik. I am a Isha Elokim. Reality, tells you something else. So reality tells you something else. What does it make? He defined himself as a Torah learner. And he didn't let what we call reality confuse him. Because the Torah says that you are. We come to this world in order to win our Malchus fair and square. Because that much depends on our royal stature. We're not the Queen of England and the rest of that. This is the I don't know, the Brady Bunch they call the royal family. The Malchus of Am Yisrael is the Malchus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Your neshama is goodness personified. It needs to go through all the trials and tribulations in order for your inner qualities to shine. You were born to have Malchus over the Malachim. You're supposed to be the ruler of 310 Olamas. What does it mean, 310 Olamas? Rabbeinu says Sichas around 310 Olamas with all the continents, with all the cities, with all the factories, in other words, 310 Olamas with billions and billions of people in each one. And each one has an Apple in it, and an Amazon in it, and the Windows in it, and Microsoft in it, and United Airlines in it, and everything. 310 of those are supposed to be under you personally. You're supposed to run it because you're the king. So the first thing that happens to you when you wake up from this daze of like, whoa, I've been asleep for a long time. The first thing you meet is not expediency, but necessity. You got to deal with necessity. We spoke in Motzei Shabbos a lot about how do you deal with it is as far as tefillah is concerned, because that's the major tool that you have to do, that we have to deal with, that we have to. But ultimately, the one thing you need to understand, the fact that things are difficult is built in. Hashem does not give any of us an obstacle that we cannot overcome. It does not exist. It's only when I am deciding to get away with murder, when I'm when I harbor, this thought, like the previous question when he asked, the first time that he asked, why is this happening to me? This is just unfair. This led him to licentiousness. But when he finally says, what is Hashem doing to me? This is what's going on, and I can trust the Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's just very difficult for me. You don't come complaining to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You come crying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Like a child who's crying to his father, I know it's the best for me, but this injection, this infusion to put in my arm, whatever it is, it's so painful, Tati. It hurts so much. And then yet Tati says, I know, and hug you. We're in the middle of an amazing journey. An amazing journey, this life. When you sit there or you walk, you're standing there for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you don't know what to say, and you don't know what to do. You're still a Jew who is standing before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's forever. That's eternal. What an amazing thing. Just think about it for a minute. It's an amazing thing. I'm standing in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm standing before the king. I'm talking to the king. I'm trying to talk to the king who has put this barrier of darkness before my eyes and I can't see because he wants me to get over it, because he wants me to talk behind it and believe in him. And I'm doing it. It's astonishing. It's astonishing. As you'll notice when we go on, at a certain point in time, the tzaddik tells him, you don't need to suffer. You don't need to struggle so much. It's not supposed to be so difficult. It's you. It's your Averis who's making things that difficult. You can be as blemished as you are, as damaged goods as you are, as twisted as you are. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be that difficult. In fact, it can be a lot of fun. People from aside, from outside, they will look at you, will say like, whoa, I can't believe that he's going to this. How can he do it? You'll be having a ball. You'll be having a ball. You'll be living life. You'll be living life. Tremendous. So the Rebbe says, La Sholem Mar Lima, that the way that the Sholem usually comes to person is through a bitter pill. It's okay. Because you're supposed to switch the enjoyment of the physical to the enjoyment, as we'll tell you tests, as we'll see later on, the enjoyment of the ruchnius that there is in the food and in life and everything else. So things are difficult. Come to Kodesh Baruch Hu and tell him. It's hard. And when that happens, suddenly you'll see inside, Batzarech Haftali, you'll find that within the problems, there are great deliverance. There's great deliverance inside. No, I remember when many years ago, I think it was 1995. That's like what, 25 years ago. I I went to Uman, if I may tell you this story. I went in Uman and I fell down into there was a pit, was a hole, and we're building the buildings over there, and I just fell into a pit, and I banged my rib. And I came back to America, and I went to the HMO, whatever it is. They told me, okay, so you cracked the rib, no big deal, whatever it is. And by the time Pesach rolled around, I couldn't breathe. I was coughing like anything. They found out that my pleural sac was filled with fluids all the way up, like, and my lung was like kvetching and like, and everybody says, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you all right?" Well, I basically feel fine. It's just I'm coughing like that. So they took me to the hospital and said, "Listen, what we have to do is we have to, make a hole, inside in the side, and just, take out that liquid which is inside the pleural sac, and let the lung, spread back to its place, and that's it." All right. So I went in the hospital and I came there, and they, the went an X-ray, and then they did this kind of like a bullseye, where it's supposed to be, whatever it is. And I was still, taking the whole thing like, everybody around me was all excited, and I was basically having a good time. What's the big deal? It's like I feel that bad, okay, I'm sailing the moon. It's like, ooh, I'm in the middle of attention. Everybody's paying attention to me. This is really cool. And I I and then the time came where the surgeon came in order to put the hose in there, whatever it is, the tube, take out this liquid, whatever. And I had a small Lakuta Maran with me next to my bed. And I just while he was, putting all his, the axe and the this and the that, all the tools. I took the Likutei Moharan and I opened it up, like Pticha Sefer in the middle, wherever it opens up, and open up, the Torah was a Torah Nun Hey. And the Rebbe talks about when a person looks at the tachlis, at the purpose of things, even when he is suffering, even when he is suffering pain, it doesn't hurt that much. It's very easy to sustain. And the last words that I read before the surgeon told me, okay, I'm ready, is even when they cut a certain part of a person's body. And that is when I became scared. Then I realized, man, this is going to be painful. And the thing is that I didn't realize, and it's like that I figured, you're just going to anesthetize the place, whatever it is. But I think what they needed to do, they didn't know what was inside. So the first thing they did, it was, took, the kind of injection that you use for cows and horses. I don't know, whatever. Basically stabbed me, in the side. I'm like, what the heck is going on, man? I've never felt pain like this in my life. I was in such a shock, not only because of the pain, but the fact is that suddenly air, whatever is coming from a different place in my body, my whole sense of physical integrity was lost. And then he put it in, and it was gone. And when he was done, I was just lying there. I was in shock. I was devastated. I was lying there, blood, sweat, and tears, and I just could not believe it. And I opened up the Likutei Moharan again. And the Rebbe says, "Batzarich haftali." When a person is in a straits, is in trouble, the derech is the Kodesh Baruch Hu opens up an island of solace in the middle of the tzara. And I went, what could be the island in the middle of the tzara right now? And then it dawned on me, it's over. They don't have to do it now. It's done. It's done. And I calmed down. Okay. It's over. And then I made a friend, the chasana of the daughter of whatever, another friend. And I met the person and I said, and I told him the Maisa, and I said, you show me another Rebbe that will come with you to the hospital and be by your bed and talk to you just before they cut you. And then immediately when it's over, we'll show you. It's done, it's over. So that person told me, that's not such a big deal. Your Rebbe was there because you took him with you. And that's the answer. Each and every one of us is going through this kind of operation in our lives. We're being stabbed without an anesthesia, without a painkiller, right then and there. Keep the Rebbe with you. Before it happens, open up, look for answers by the Rebbe. Stick with him. Cling to him. Cling to him. Lean on his great koyach. The Rebbe will be with you in this world. The Rebbe will be with you when the time comes to move on. And the Rebbe will be with you in the Olam Haba. Lean on him. Don't be afraid. Baruch Hashem, we have who to lean on. It's a gift that Kodesh Baruch Hu gave us. Mezrat Hashem, next week we will talk about the continuation of what do you do. Let's just open up the gallery. Let's unmute everybody. Hold on just 1 second. And you guys can unmute all. And anybody wants to say anything?
Next Monday is Lag Bomer.
I'm sorry, sir?
Next Monday is Lag Bomer.
Yes, it is, indeed.
Okay, so Shir Ragil. Okay.
We have B'ezrat Hashem another Shir on Thursday, another Shir on Moshe Shabbos. So B'ezrat Hashem will get a chance to talk about it. Yes.
This is Rav Grumman. This is Simcha Wecker.
All right.
He comes to the Breslov Shul sometimes for Mecha and Mariv. And
so you managed to schlep him here.
Yeah.
he was. I think he may have come to the Thursday night shir once. I don't know.
Tati,
Yes, sir.
there were a whole bunch of guys from Lakewood listening to the shir as well, together with Chuni, who asked me to send them the shir once it's done.
Okay,
they listened while he was on.
what's going to go on is that we're gonna I'm Bli Neder. I will take the audio recording and I'm going to put it on Telegram, and I'm going to upload the video onto YouTube, and the link is going to be also in
On Telegram.
Telegram, on Telegram.
Okay.
So anybody who wants to become a member of this Telegram group, whatever, is welcome to it. So Bezrat Hashem, today was the 25th, right? This is what today was, the Rebbe's Sphira, Netzach de Netzach. Tzachti v'natzeach, Bezrat Hashem.
Laila Tov.
Laila Tov, everybody. See
תודה
you
רבה,
Bezrat
לילה
Hashem
טוב.
on Thursday. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Kol tov.